Hey everyone, so I'm going to do the review sheet for your test. For this question, it asks you what values of x make the expression undefined. So what you're going to do is understand that undefined means when you have 0 on the bottom. A fraction is undefined when you have a 0 under the bottom. So all I care about is the 0 and the denominator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor the denominator, and I'm going to factor with am with minus 5 and minus 2. And then I'm going to have x equals 5 and x equals 2 as my undefined values. I do not care about the top because that doesn't make the expression undefined. It's the bottom that makes the expression undefined. So those are your values, 5 and 2. For this question, you're going to evaluate f of 4, which means replace all the x's with 4. So I'm going to have 12 times 4 to the 0 plus 4 to the negative second, and then plus 4 to the 1/2. Now this whole thing is going to become 1 because anything to the 0 power is 1. 4 to the negative second is really 1 over 4 squared, which is 1 over 16. 4 to the 1/2 is 2 when you put in your calculator, or you can understand that this is the square root of 4 because of power over root. But anyways, these guys add to 3, and then you have 1/16, so that's your answer. For this question, by rules of PEMDAS, I would take care of the parentheses first by distributing the squared. When you have a power to a power, you multiply, so I'll get 4, and 4 times 2 is 8, and then I'll keep the bottom the same. I'm going to do 4 to the second, which gets me 16x to the 4th, y to the 8th. And now I'm going to reduce. 16 divided by 8 is 2. When I divide, I will subtract exponents. So this is what I get. So it becomes 2xy to the 12th because this is a negative, which makes it positive. So that's your answer. This question, make sure the radical is alone. It is, so I'm going to square both sides now. To cross off that, I'll get b squared equals 2b squared minus 64. You want to get it equal to 0 so that we can factor. I'm going to use am, b plus 8, b minus 8. You'll get two answers, b equals negative 8 and b equals 8. You're going to check this either by plugging in or using the table, like put this into y1 and put that into y2. But you'll find that negative 8 gets rejected and your answer is just 2. This question gives you the formula for a work problem. It's 1 over T1, 1 over T2 equals 1 over TB. T1 represents the first person's time, T2 is the second person's time, and TB is their time together. So we have Dwight can deliver his newspaper in 30 minutes, and Jim can take 20 minutes. We want to know how long it'll take them to do it together. So we'll have 1 over TB. I'm going to add these guys into my calculator using alpha y equals. So if I do 1 over 30 plus 1 over 20 in my calculator, it becomes 1/12. And then you're going to cross multiply, and you're going to get TB equals 12 minutes. And that's your answer for them together. This one says a number minus 12 times its reciprocal is 4. What are your possible values for that number? So I'm going to write a number, which is x minus 12 times its reciprocal. Reciprocal means I'm going to make the reciprocal of x. The reciprocal of x, if it's x over 1, it becomes 1 over x. So it'll be times 1 over x is 4. Now I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to multiply these guys, so I'll get x minus 12 over x equals 4. I'm going to put this over 1 so that I can make them all denominators. And I'm going to give this guy an x on the top and bottom and this guy as well. Because what I'm doing now is creating the same denominator across the board. And when I do that, I can go ahead and cross off all the bottoms. So now I have x squared minus 12 equals 4. Oh, sorry, I forgot the x. So that's an x. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to subtract my 4x over because we know that x squared needs to be 0 in order for our polynomial to be able to factor. So I'm going to factor this trinomial now using AM. Your factors of 12 that add to 4 are 6 and 2. We want a negative 4, so minus 6, positive 2. So the two possible values of x would be 6 and -2. So for this question here, you want to combine all the fractions because you're adding and subtracting fractions. To do that, you need to factor the bottoms first so that we can see what they have inside. These guys are both going to be using GCF. The GCF is 3 for the first one, because when you take out 3, you get x plus 3. And the second one is x. You end up with x plus 3. You divide by x. Okay. That means that I want the LCD to be 3x, x plus 3. So the last one needs in 3. This guy needs the x, and this guy needs 3 and x plus 3. Okay, so the bottom is now going to be 3x plus 3. 3x, x plus 3. Do not cross them off for this one. The denominators will stay because this is adding and subtracting. We don't cross off the bottoms. So now I'm going to distribute this in to get 3x plus 9. That'll be x squared. And then this is -3 times 3, which is -9. These guys will cancel out. You'll end up with x squared plus 3x all over 3x, x plus 3. I'm going to factor the top to see if I can reduce. Again, I'm using GCF. And when I do that, I can see that these guys cancel, and I'm left with 3 on the bottom, so my final answer is 1/3. Okay, this guy is another solving, so again, the first thing you should always do is factor the bottoms. Those guys are done. But this guy here is the squared, so we can actually factor using AM. Factors of 12 that add to -1 are -4 and +3. This is going to tell me that this guy needs an x plus 3, and this guy needs an x minus 4. And now they cancel out because there's an equal sign. So I get x squared plus 3x. This is -1 into both of these, so -x plus 4 equals 28. Combining my like terms on this side, I get 2x plus 4 equals 28. X squared likes to equal to 0, so I'm going to subtract the 28. I'm going to get x squared plus 2x minus 24 equals 0. AM. Okay, plus minus, the factors of 24 that add to 2 are 6 and 4, but we want a positive, so. And that means I have the answers of -6 and +4. We're going to reject 4 because if you look at the top at the original problem, this guy here, this guy has -4. So does this guy when you factor it. So when you plug in 4 into here and here, it becomes 0, and that means denominator will be 0. And if the denominator is 0, it'll make this whole thing here become undefined. So the answer is just -6. Same problem, different, I don't even know, different method. So I'm going to factor this bottom with GCF. That tells me that this guy needs an x, and this guy needs an x minus 2. These will cancel out. Then I'm going to multiply this to get 2x squared. I'm going to distribute this -11 in to get -11x plus 22 equals 8. Subtract the 8. So you get 2x squared minus 11x, 22 minus 8. That ends up getting you 14. Now, I can't do AM because there's a number in front, so I'm going to do glasses, which is 2 times 14, which is 28. The factors of 28 added to 11 are 7 and 4. So I'm going to do 2x squared. I want a -11, so minus 4x minus 7x. Okay. So I'm going to split this down the middle. And I'm going to take a GCF out here and get x minus 2. Take a negative 7 out of here, get x minus 2. I'll have 2x minus 7 and x minus 2. And I'll get x equals 2 and x equals 7 over 2. You get 7 over 2 because you add the 7 over and then you divide by 2. Okay, I'm going to reject 2 because when I check it, I notice that this guy here has a x minus 2. And if you plug in 2, 2 minus 2 is 0 on the denominator. And when the denominator becomes 0, it's undefined. So we only have the answer of 7 over 2. This says the rectangle has an area and a width of x plus 4. They want you to find the length. We know that area equals length times width. So we know that this times the length, whatever it is, gets you the width. Gets you the area, I'm sorry. So to get this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this by this, because if I want the length, I would have to divide the area by the width. To do that, I'm going to use synthetic division and put negative 4 in the box. I'll take my coefficients of 2, 8. I'm going to put a 0 here because there's a missing x squared, and then 2 and 8. I'm going to drop down my 2, negative 4 times 2, negative 8, add 0. Multiply negative 4 times 0, 0, add 0. Negative 4 times 0 is 0 again. Add, you get 2, and negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. You get 0, which is supposed to happen because it's the area times the length times the width, which gets you the area. So there shouldn't be a remainder. Okay, so now I'm going to go down by a power. The problems start with x to the 4th, so I'm going to do x cubed, x squared, and x. These guys don't really matter. They're just 0. So your length is 2x cubed plus 2. Okay, so for this problem, you got to analyze the graph. It says the figure below shows the graph of a cubic polynomial function used to model the profit for a number of t-shirts sold. They want you to estimate the zeros. That's where it crosses the x, so there are 3 of them. Now just be careful. This does go by fives. So this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and so on. This is negative 5, negative 10, negative 15, negative 20. So when I estimate this first 0 here, it's between negative 10 and negative 15. So like on my key I said negative 14 because it looks pretty close to negative 15. But you could say negative 13, it wouldn't be marked wrong. And then the other guy, he is right here, and he's between like 10 and 15. So I said on my key about 12 because it looks like it's pretty much in the center. And then this guy over here, he's between 50 and 55, so I said 53. But anything close to those numbers would work. So my zeros would be about negative 14, 12, and 53. Now they want your relative max and your relative min. Now if you really look at this thing, the min is just below that labeled point, and the max is about here. So when I try to find my min, it's got to be lower than negative 126, and it's going to be over here somewhere, so I don't know. I wrote negative 2, comma, negative 130. And then my max is right here, and that's between 35 and 40 down there. So I put 37, comma. The y-axis counts by 50s, so 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300. So it's like in between the two of 250 and 300. So I said 275, but anything close to that would work. So I wrote my min is negative 2, negative 130, and my max is 237, comma 275. Now they say, they give you this function, they say use the vertical intercept labeled on the graph. That's this guy. So we're going to use 0, comma negative 126 to find C. This is x and this is y. So I'm going to set the equation equal to that because p of x really means y. And then I'm going to plug in 0 wherever I see an x. These zeros don't really mean anything. They just kind of cancel out when you type them into the calculator. So you end up getting negative 126 equals C, 9828. Divide by 9828. And you'll get about like negative 0.013 if you round. They ask if the function is even, odd, or neither. Justify your reasoning. Looking at the symmetry on the graph, there is no symmetry over the y-axis or origin. So I would say neither because no symmetry. For this question, they want you to make it into exponents. So the first thing I did was I used power over root to rewrite these. And the bottom's power over root, power over root. Now when you divide, you subtract exponents. So 2/3 minus, oops, hold on. So 2/3 minus 3/4. I'm subtracting those because these guys are both x's. And then y, 5/3 minus 4/4. When you type those into your calculator, you actually end up getting x to the negative 1/12 and y to the 2/3. This is the last question. It says, write an equation of a parabola with a focus of negative 2, 5 and directrix of y equals 9. I need to see the picture. So focus, negative 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Directrix is 9, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now remember, your vertex is halfway in between these guys. So this is a distance of 4. So I'm going to go up to get my vertex. It opens down because we hug our focus. So that means that my equation is going to be negative 4a. Now remember, what goes in for the h and the k is the vertex. The vertex's point is negative 2, comma 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then you need the a value. And what the a value is, it's the distance between the vertex and the focus and the vertex and the directrix. So this is 2, both of these. So what I'm going to do is, I know a is 2. So I'm going to change the signs. X plus 2 squared equals negative 4 times 2. Y minus 7. So cleaning this up, I have x plus 2 squared equals negative 8. Y minus 7. That's good enough. It's an equation. It satisfies the question. You could also solve for y, but that's fine. Good luck. If you need extra help, come, and I'll see you soon.